DeHart household is a little somber today. My wife just realized that 10 years ago today we bid our final farewell to Big Red. "Allow me to introduce you to Big Red," said Mr. Olson as he opened the door to his garage. "We're the original owners. We hardly ever drive her, and when we do, it's just around town." I glanced at Lois for confirmation, but she only had eyes for the red four-door 1965 Chevy Bel Air that filled the garage. A quick drive around the block, and Lois and I were hooked.
The only thing left was negotiating the price. I pulled back into the driveway to find Mr. Olson cleaning up an oil spill in the garage where the car had been parked. I asked him how much he wanted for the car. Mr. Olson scratched his chin and got all misty-eyed. "It's hard to put a price on her. She's been with us a long time. She's more like one of the family. It'll be hard to part with Big Red. You know, I taught my son to drive in that car, and I drove him down to the recruiting station in her when he enlisted to fight in Vietnam. That was the last time I saw him. But I suppose, Lois here being a neighbor and all, it's not like we'll never see her again, and we'll know that she's in good hands. I guess I could let you have her for $5,000. I was devastated. There was no way we could afford to pay $5,000. The look in Lois's eyes told me that she really wanted that car. I had to at least try to negotiate. "Are you sure you can't bring the price down a little? All we've got is $500. I held up the cash so he could see it. "Sold!" he shouted, and snatched the money from my hands before he could change his mind. I could see by the way his hands trembled as he counted the bills that it was hard for him to accept such a cut in price. Back then, gas was less than $1 a gallon, so we weren't too concerned about the amount of gas Big Red guzzled on a daily basis. Instead of tracking MPGs, we closely monitor her MPQs, or miles per quart, of oil. Big Red consumed a lot of oil. I kept a couple cases in the trunk so I could top her off after driving a few miles. We also noticed visibility could be a problem. With all the smoke pouring out of the exhaust pipe, we could barely see the cars behind us. I figured it was common with the Bel Airs because once, after returning from our first road trip, some friends told us they saw a car just like ours driving down the freeway on fire. What a coincidence. After getting familiar with Big Red, I developed other concerns, one being safety. My first concern was that there were no shoulder harnesses, just lap belts. That in itself wouldn't be a terrible problem. Not until I realized that the dashboard was made of metal. With only lap belts, I figured a head-on collision would leave a dent the size of a watermelon in the forehead of anyone sitting in the front seat. But my concerns were unfounded. I eventually realized that as Big Red was, if we ran into anything smaller than a semi, we'd feel nothing more than going over a speed bump. I could go on and on about all the great times Lois and I had driving Big Red around town, but none of them come to mind at the moment. We brought her with us when we moved to Kent. We drove her less and less as time went by. I toyed with the idea of taking the engine out and rebuilding it, but with the same level of enthusiasm I have toward getting my teeth drilled by a dentist on laughing gas. The dentist on laughing gas, that is, not me. Then the unthinkable happened. Someone tried to steal Big Red. We woke one morning to find broken glass on the pavement where we had last parked the car. But it wasn't a total loss. We were able to follow the lingering trail of smoke and oil down the street and around the corner where the thief had abandoned Big Red after the engine had overheated. I had yet to make my fortune as a best-selling author, so we decided replacing the broken window and fixing the engine were outside our budget. So we put a for sale sign on the windshield asking for the best offer. The offers started pouring in like the offers to publish my first novel. We decided we might get more interested in Big Red if we had a garage sale. We parked her out front next to my old desk and the recliner I had inherited from a college roommate. Big Red received a lot of attention throughout the day. People had to circumnavigate the front of the Bel Air to reach our trove of treasures for sale. There were a lot of hushed whispers and pointing at Big Red, usually followed by snickers and heads shaking in disbelief. At the end of the day, as we were packing up the remnants from our sale, a large white truck pulled up to our driveway. Next to Big Red, the truck looked like a toy. A hefty man in greasy jeans and a Seahawks jersey emerged from the cab of the truck and waddled over to Big Red. He scratched his beard with his meaty hand. He leaned in through the broken driver's window to inspect the interior, then trekked to the front of the vehicle to look under the hood. "Looks like she blew a gasket," he declared loudly. "How much you asking for her?" Well, it's hard to put a price on her, I said, wiping a tear from my eye. She's like one of the family. She was an engagement gift from my wife, but you look like you know how to take care of her, so I suppose we could part for her for, I don't know, $500? I'll give you $50 for her, he said, holding up a fistful of tens. Sold! I grabbed the money from his hand before he could change his mind, and I handed him the keys. My hands trembled as I counted the bills. It was a sad end to the day, watching Big Red in tow behind the white truck. Lois put on a brave face, but I could tell she was grief-stricken. Yes, Big Red is in a better place now. She finally has an owner who knows how to fix her up and keep her running. Sometimes I think of buying her a classic car, something with character and style, but I know she would never feel the same about another car the way she felt about Big Red. She just needs to move on and begin a new chapter. She needs to find a new interest to focus on. She needs something she won't be so emotionally attached to. Maybe I should get her a puppy.